Welcome to The Cynical Developer, the podcast that helps you to improve your development knowledge and career through explaining the latest and greatest in development technology and providing you with what you need to succeed as a developer. We've recently launched our Patreon page, which can be found at cynicaldeveloper.com/Patreon. If you aren't familiar with Patreon, it's an easy way for those who are interested in this show to help out by simply pledging a small amount each month in sponsorship. Now that could be as little as $5 a month, which is about £3.80, or as much as you like. You will enable us to dedicate more time creating more content to help you, including videos, more blog posts, and even more shows. So if you can, head over to cynicaldeveloper.com/Patreon and get involved. In this episode, we continue with our mini-series on the Time Bandits. Who are the Time Bandits? They are the thieves in our day-to-day lives that are stealing our time, stopping us from being productive and reaching our targets and our goals. So this mini-series started back in episode 76 with a look at the ringleader of the bandits, Too Much WIP. If you haven't listened to that episode, then stop right now, go listen to that one first, and then come back. So if you're still here, let's get on with it. There are many different Time Bandits, but we will be focusing on the 5 leaders in this mini-series. We've already covered Too Much WIP. We've still got to cover conflicting priorities, unplanned work, neglected work, and unknown dependencies. And in this episode, we're going to be looking at conflicting priorities. So, what are conflicting priorities? This is when there's a lack of proper direction. People are uncertain about what to work on right now or next, or even what they're trying to achieve. You'll often arrive at this thief because you have multiple people vying for your time. Normally it's several managers thinking that their work is more important and needs to be done first in comparison to everything else that you've got on your plate. So this isn't really your decision to make as to which bit of work you should be working on. Should you be working on their work? And tell them that, as what often happens in the development team is that you'll get pulled into these battles to try and decide who is a higher priority, and it's wasting your time. And they will try and pressurize you to side with them in an attempt to prioritize their work over anyone else's. And that leads back to a bigger mess because what do most developers do? They simply say, yes, I'll do it all. And inevitably, this leads us right back to the ringleader of these Time Bandits, Too Much WIP. Now, I did tell you in the last episode that a lot of these roads lead back to Too Much WIP, didn't I? So how do you know that you are dealing with conflicting priorities? So you will often hear phrases like, I need you to work on this task before Jeff's task because it's more important. If you don't get my task done before the end of the week, I'll be talking to your line manager about your inability to do your job. Who said this wasn't priority? I've been waiting patiently for 2 years for this change, and now it's still not done. You'll often hear a lot of those, or very similar phrases around the office. So as soon as you hear anything like that, that's an alarm bell that this thief is around. And bowing down to these sort of bully boy tactics and attempting to please everyone, no matter what Dale Carnegie says, pleasing everyone is not the answer. Even if you try, you'll simply find yourself constantly context switching to make an attempt at multitasking, and we know that this won't work. You'll simply deliver nothing. And multitasking is one of the main signs of Too Much WIP that we've already discussed. So how should you deal with conflicting priorities? How can you stop it? Well, you can simply say, not my problem to decide on your priorities. But sometimes this isn't enough, especially if you're the team or the technical lead and that you need to have an opinion on this. Now, when I've been in that situation, one very effective and simple way to get people to understand what priority means, what it really is is to get the conflicted parties to quantify their tasks into monetary value and their monetary impact on the business. Now, what I mean by this is that they need to produce the following figures. How much it will cost the business if we don't have this task completed right now? How much will it earn the business if we do have this right now and not later on? And that should be enough, but another dimension you can add to this, which does make things slightly more complex, is considering the estimated time to do each task. Then based on those effort estimates, they can produce some more figures as well to help bolster their argument, and that would be, what would the cost or gain to the business be if it were to wait until the other task, X, Y, and Z, have been done first in any order. There are other ways to deal with conflicting priorities, but I find the monetary one the best one, because people, they relate to money values better than a lot of things, as it's something that they understand, and it's so fine-grained into them. And it's also a damn fine model to justify what gets worked on first to the upper levels of management, as they don't understand or even care about the details about how it's going to be implemented or what the impact on your team is. They just want to know what the bottom line is. How much money is this going to make the business, or how much is it going to cost the business? So that's all I have for you for today's Bandit. Next in the mini-series, we'll focus on unplanned work. Do you often hear, "Surprise, we need to get this done by the end of the day"? If you do, then right there, that's thief number 3, unplanned work. We'll be discussing that thief next time. The Time Bandits are a stressful bunch, but together we can kick them into touch, and you can become a better, more measured professional by applying the advice I'm giving you in this mini-series. You can even apply this to other things in your life. I use it quite often to manage my spare time as well. But for now, thank you for listening to The Cynical Developer. I'm James Stoddart, and this was Conflicting Priorities in the Time Bandits mini-series. If you have any questions about this or any other episode, then drop us an email, a tweet, or leave a comment on the website, where you can find all the resource links, show notes for each episode. And if you enjoy this episode, please leave a review on your favourite podcast platform, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever it is, and help The Cynical Developer to reach more developers around the globe.